Today we're going to tie the CDC Midge Cripple, which is a great early season freestone and tailwater pattern. Okay, to get started, we're just going to take our black 8/0 thread and we're just going to make a few wraps down the shank of the hook, take the tag end, and we're going to clip that out with our scissors. Alright, the next step, we're just going to make a tail using pearlescent crystal flash. We're just going to double that over and we're going to tie that in off the top of the shank, and we're going to wrap all the way down where the shank meets the bend. Once we have that tied in, we'll just clip the tail out about a hook shank length with our scissors, and we'll just clip out the tag end. Alright, now we're ready to create our abdomen, which is going to be a medium pearl mylar tinsel, and we're just going to measure that out about hook shank length, and we're going to make nice even thread wraps and bind that to the shank of the hook. As you can see here, we're just making even wraps up to about 3/4 of the total hook length, and we're going to stop our thread right about there. Now we're just going to take our mylar tinsel and we're going to make nice even wraps to create that pearlescent body. As you can see here, we're just making one nice wrap over the other, and we're just working our way back up towards the shank of the hook. And at that point that we stopped our thread, we're going to want to kind of switch hands there, make a thread wrap behind the mylar tinsel to bind it down, and we're going to make about 5 to 6 wraps to secure that off. Once that's taken care of, just go ahead and clip the tag end out with your scissors, and now we're ready to create the thorax using ultrafine black dry fly dubbing. And we're just going to create a thin rope, make sure that it's nice and even, and usually that rope will be about anywhere from 1 to 2 inches long. And we'll just go ahead and cover up that area where we stopped our mylar tinsel, and that's just going to create the thorax body. As you can see here, it's just kind of a dubbing ball. And in the next step here, we want to create our wings with our CDC, and we want to make sure that we've got nice even fibers for both wings. I'm going to turn those to the side, make sure that the wings splay away from each other. And once that's taken care of, I'll just transfer the CDC back to my left hand, and what I like to do here is just strip the bottom fibers off, exposing that stem. And what that does is it eliminates the bulk from the pattern once I tie it in. Okay, at this point what we're doing is we're just pulling back those CDC fibers. We're not stripping them off, we're just pulling them back to create that classic CDC wing. Once we have that taken care of, just go ahead and pinch those down with your left hand. Make sure that they're in there nice and tight so that they're in place. And we're going to make about 5 to 6 securing wraps over the top of the hook shank. And once those are tied in, what I like to do is just splay those wings apart, and to make sure that the wing doesn't roll, I pull those tag end fibers back and tie in front. And once that's taken care of, we'll just take our scissors and we'll just clip out the excess, and now we're ready to hackle our pattern. As you can see here, we're just using a grizzly hackle that's proportionate to the size of the pattern. You can also use a light or a medium dun, whichever you prefer. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to create another dubbing rope in the same manner as we did with the one before. And we're just going to go ahead and get that started. Pull your hackle forward, make one wrap behind the hackle with the dubbing rope, and then kind of get that hackle out of the way, and we're just going to finish out the dubbing portion of the thorax. Okay, now that that part's in place, we'll just go ahead and begin wrapping forward. Usually about 2.5 wraps is going to be perfect. And on that last wrap, we'll just take our thread and we'll bind that behind the hackle. We're going to make about 3 securing wraps. We'll take our scissors and clip out the tag end. Okay, now that that's taken care of, we're just going to grab our whip finish and we're going to finish out the head. Generally about 4 to 5 wraps is going to be perfect. Go ahead and slip out that loop, snug that up, grab our scissors, and we'll go ahead and clip the thread out. And now we're just going to take a very light amount of head cement and we're just going to dab that to make sure that everything's secure and in place. Alright, now we're ready to trim our wings to size, and as you can see here, I'm not trimming both wings together. I'm trimming them individually, and I'm just making a slight cut to trim the stem. And then we're just going to grab those fibers and we're just going to pluck those out with our thumb and our forefinger. As you can see here, You may have a straggler or two, so you can just take your hackle pliers and you can just pull those out accordingly. Alright, the last step here, we're just going to take our scissors and directly beneath the fly we're going to clip out a V, and what that does is it keeps the fly riding stable and upright on the water. And that is the CDC Midge Cripple. As we mentioned, this is a great little early season freestone and tailwater pattern. We like to fish this on the South Fork of the Boise, the Owyhee, and the Big Wood, anywhere from November through March.